Hey guys, I'm Grace from Guelph Guitar Repair. Today I am honored to bring forward Levon Campbell. He is not a luthier, but I care to argue that point. Levon, how are you?
I am good, thank you. As I was just saying to Ian, yeah, I made that Instagram account in 2014 or so,
Hmm.
and I may not have been a luthier at the time.
And has that opinion of yourself changed now?
Yes, yes.
I am just fascinated at the many aspects of your trade, and I'm curious how deep we can get into all those details today. Um, what I'm curious about is your many areas. I think I've broken you down into about four major areas that I want to talk
Oh,
about today.
finally, somebody can explain me to myself.
I don't know. I just have questions. I'm gonna present leading questions,
Right.
and maybe maybe someone can string it all together and do a thesis about you. I want to know how if you. It seems like you visit antique stores and you select items to bring home and repair. I want to know how you tell a shell from garbage, because some of the things you find look like guitar-shaped objects, not necessarily guitars entirely. But you see something and with piles of cleats, you can turn them back into a guitar. I want to know how you make your decisions about that. I want to talk about the clients that you see. I want to know, yeah, I'm curious if you do any repairs for clients, if you do any builds for clients. Your taste is so eclectic, and I want to know if you've been able to find a market for what you do. I want to talk about eBay because one of the fun things that I noticed about you early on following you was all the multitude of photos of old-timey guitars and old-timey pictures, um, and apparently eBay deals or not deals. You are able to discern those things. And the last one is I want to know at what point you decided to accept Poseidon as your Lord and Savior and what offerings you make to him to pass you the driftwood he does off the shores on the west coast of Canada.
So
So
just
that's where
all of
we're
that
gonna
at
go.
once, I
Yeah,
assume.
just yeah. Does anything strike you right away? Where do you want to start?
Gosh. Uh, okay. Where I forgot everything you said already.
That's awesome.
Let's
I'm gonna
start
show
at
you
the
a
very
picture.
beginning.
I'm gonna show you a picture. Can you see this?
I can see this.
So this is a collection on a floor of your own.
It is.
We have many things here.
We have many things.
Which one of these or which ones of these were found at antique stores?
Um, just the two round boys on the bottom.
Is this a round boy at the bottom?
Yeah.
And even this guy?
Yeah, I mean, I used to go thrifting and antique store shopping all the time, but then I realized time is too precious
Mm-hmm.
and the deals are too far be few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, Victoria is a pretty slow city. And so, yeah, I don't really do that anymore. I'll just buy stuff off the internet
Are
mostly.
are
And my
any of these?
criteria for that is either
Yeah.
something so unique that I'll never see it again. I want to rescue it regardless of value. But if I'm trying to make money off an instrument, especially like, turn of the century guitars are going to need $1,000 work at least,
Mm-hmm.
almost in every case, unless it comes to you magically playable, which has happened to me twice. Um, and even then, they need tons and tons of work. But yeah, I mean, if you don't see it selling for $1,000 more than you buy it for, it's probably just a uh, a passion piece.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, you can't count your hours on something like that.
So what is a price point that you'd be acceptable or that you'd accept when you're making a purchase off of eBay or the odd thrift store purchase?
Uh, I like to buy something that's a fraction of its potential value. If it's completely destroyed, like couple $100. But
Yeah.
if it's okay, we're up to $700, $800, $900 for project guitars.
Yeah.
And I'm dealing everything in US dollars. I buy it from the States, I sell it to the States pretty much exclusively. And try not to look at the conversion when I'm buying things because our dollar is
It hurts.
very low.
It hurts bad.
Yeah,
So you
but
do
you know, you're fine.
how do buyers find you?
A lot of it is on Instagram. A
Mm,
lot of a lot of my repair clients for nicer, older work come through Instagram. I'd like to diversify that because I don't like the platform that much, and it seems like it's probably on limited footing. Not much longevity there necessarily. So need to do more self promotion, website, all that stuff that there's no time for.
yeah, what time would you use? The time when you're also being a single dad?
Yeah, there's not a minute. I
'Cause
actually have
that's
2 kids here right now, but they are watching TV, so I am doing nothing and hearing nothing.
that's alarming.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I haven't heard one thing yet. Bit
Hmm.
odd.
Must be a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy cow. Um, wow. So if we have any website designers here,
I've teamed up with a photographer who's going to do the work for pro bono and start, you know, taking my own work more seriously. Because that's the push, that's the direction I like to go. I love repair, but I want to make art.
so the your own pieces are the goal?
Yeah, I'm kind of compiling enough pieces to start pushing them on galleries because I don't find guitar shows the most elegant way to show work.
Yeah.
No offense to guitar shows, but
No, I don't think you're the only one in this space who has that opinion. I there's a prominent member of our group here who was describing being at a guitar show and feeling a high level of anxiety. Having so many beautiful guitars set up like a freaking antique market, like stalls so
yeah,
close together and space so limited.
one tug of that black modesty cloth and they all fall down.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's realistic. I don't know if gallery shows are realistic, but you know, considering the amount of hours that go into my ridiculous instruments, I kind of need to get gallery prices for them.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. Your guitars all deserve a good close look. Do you suppose they could have a play through element too at the guitar at the gallery?
Uh, I suppose there could be some demonstrations.
Because I don't think that you build them without thinking about how they actually play.
No, it may be secondary in some instances, but it is fully necessary. It has to all work.
There's one hiding right behind your lamp there. It's I feel like it's winking at me. It wants some
This one
attention. No, the
behind the
double
lamp.
black.
Oh,
Yep.
that one,
Yep. Can
the
you
one
grab
from
it?
the thingy jiggy, the thumbnail.
Yep.
Oh, so this was the leaf of my dining table.
That was the dining table.
So I no longer have a dining table.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's not necessary. And so yeah, fun's unnecessary. People don't like to use bridge pins in electric guitars, but it's fun. It's pretty.
Yeah.
I like it to have as little visible hardware as possible. Um, so screws be damned.
Flip it over. Let's see the back. Don't put it away yet. Yeah.
And yeah, that's where the wiring comes through this brass channel into the control
Oh,
cavity because it's only
neat.
like the body's like 3/4 of an inch thick. And so I also use the Amphenol connector because it has very little route required because it's all outside.
I've never heard of an Amphenol connector. Can you fill me in on what that is?
Well, Amphenol is just a brand, but this is like a screw-on mic connector. They were pretty common on guitars in the era that this looks like it was made
Mm-hmm.
in in like the 30s, all the way up till the 50s. Some manufacturers were still using them.
What's the tuning on that beast?
I don't know. Let's see. So I had it. Oh, so I have them both in unison. So I could do like, okay, that sounds terrible, but so you can just let a certain chord ring out and then switch to the other neck, and you can always have things ringing out instead of having to overdub
Oh,
every
cool.
line of something if you want. But you can do whatever you want. I feel like people who were inventing instruments in the turn of the century, the late 1800s, they didn't have a strict guideline like this is the tuning, these are the strings, and this is how you play it. It's just like here's something. Hopefully this works for you. Do
Hmm.
whatever you want. Whereas things are a lot more rigid now.
I remember watching you put this one together, and it seemed to me like you were letting the wood do a lot of the talking. Did you have a initial design for it, or did it design itself as you went along?
Yeah, that is often how I work. I work around the piece of wood I have, and so I just wanted to maximize. I had a drawing in mind. Um, so this was the initial sketch. It was a little bit more elegant in Art Deco.
Oh, but you're very
Um,
true to it.
yeah, and things varied. You know, the headstock design got a little different.
Hmm.
The pass through of this situation.
Was there a functional reason for that? I really like that flare.
No, there's no functional reason for any of this. It's
It's such a
and
relief to hear.
but it's super light too. It's like 6 pounds maybe,
Hmm.
and because they're tenor necks, I just faceted it,
Yep.
and I find that's plenty comfortable. So you don't have to. Once the router passed over, I sanded it and it was done. That's also advantageous.
Yeah. Are those like banjo tuners
Yeah, they're 1920s Grover banjo tuners.
from a stash you have because you're a collector of fine old things?
I did spend several years acquiring vintage parts and instruments.
Hmm.
And luckily, that's behind me. Now I'm using them up.
Okay.
I mean, I still buy anything I find. I can't help myself, but
That's like gas, right? It's the disease we get.
it is. And yeah, unfortunately, I keep finding things I've never seen before that I can't pass up.
Hmm.
But I probably could pass up on the dozen Brazilian rosewood parlor guitars. I don't need a dozen of those, but I have them.
You're not being sarcastic. You have a dozen?
Yeah, but it's hard. That's actually how I got into more serious repair.
Yeah.
I wanted Brazilian rosewood washburn, and the only ones I could afford needed neck resets, so that's how I learned neck resets.
These are them, aren't they?
Those are several of them, yes.
So you learned neck resets out of necessity to find your dream washburn.
Yeah, yeah, because I had repaired one for a client and then tried subtly convince him to sell it to me, and that didn't work. So I had to find my own. That's the worst. Like you finally are making money off a client, and then you try to give them even more money to
Hmm.
buy their instrument from.
It sounds
But
kind
yeah,
of
no,
right. Yeah.
now I have a plethora, too many.
Is this, can you see which one I'm pointing at here?
Yeah,
Is this one fretless now or is just
It
fretted?
it's just mid project. That one's crazy interesting. It's got F holes and a bizarre front, top, and back bracing. The back bracing is staggered instead of posts across. It's like stair steps. It's not very
Wow.
functional, but it's interesting. And then the top is an offset double X. Um, it's a really weird guitar. I have no idea who made it. It's like 1890s, sort of northern US.
That's what you got. Wow.
Yeah.
You're extremely excellent. I mean, when things come up about what age is this, where might this be from, you're someone who pops into my head to answer those questions. Have you just gotten good at that because here you are doing it all the time? Or
Yeah,
do you have
exactly right.
a
It's the same as
historical
every
background?
niche. Every niche seems that way. It's like, how could you ever memorize the difference in those things? I think the same thing about people with violins. I'm like, can you tell me anything about this violin? Because I can't. I mean, I can tell you if it's French or German, and that's almost it on violins. But people can be like, you see how the heel cap was installed, and you know who made it.
Wow.
So there's levels of details so much deeper than I'm going.
Hmm.
But yeah, researching history is a lot of the enjoyment of these older instruments.
It's nice to have you as a resource.
Yeah, anyone can ask me anything anytime. I might not have the answer.
But you might. There was also, I feel like there was a lot of square neck guitars coming through your shop for a while. Maybe I've got
Yeah,
wrong.
well, that's an excellent way to take on projects that don't need that much work because frets don't matter, neck angle barely matters. It's the ideal project.
Here's a
Oh
black.
yeah, so I also do Spanish conversions of lap steels, which
Describe
is
that to me.
very
What's
labor
that?
intensive. I add frets, carve the necks, lower the action, and they become Spanish electrics instead of lap steels. Because there are a lot of lap steels. Like I think everyone who wants to own a lap steel can probably own about 300 if they want. There are that many out there.
So are you saying you feel no regret converting these because there's plenty available?
I try to find things that are already stripped or ruined,
Okay.
um, so I don't feel too bad. This one was like a 1940s. It was a K. It was labeled Loney was the brand name on it, and it's a 30-inch scale bass now.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I wound a pair of these horseshoe pickups, but only used one. But yeah, no, then you have a one-piece 90-year-old mahogany electric bass.
Whoa. Will you go
Um,
back to the back of the headstock for a sec?
oh, back of the head stuff.
Yeah.
Bit of
Is that
a
you?
hummingbird situation.
Is that you? Is that your handiwork on the back?
That is, and it's my sort of. It's just to cover up the two extra tuner holes from the sixth string. Just an elaborate cover. Same with the front. Yeah, just
Yeah.
hiding. I mean, I feel like that's the reason binding came into being, not to protect the edges of the guitar, but to hide bad work.
Yeah. Right. I was sold some baloney that it was hardwood so that when it takes a bonk, it doesn't, bonk the soft wood of the top and back. But
I mean,
I like
there's
yours
some
better.
legitimacy to that concept for sure.
It does that also.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but that is an interesting piece. I don't think I've noticed that one in your
This is
collections.
very old work. Oh, I liked what I did with this neck. It's not the cleanest work, but it's a cool concept.
That is very cool. Does anyone
It's
else want to
fun.
unmute and celebrate how cool this bass is? Because I'm dying over here.
Was that neck that long in for the lap steel variant?
uh, yeah, it was kind of an extra long headstock. So actually, the the fretboard probably started at the first fret originally.
Oh, okay.
And so I extended the fretboard into the headstock to get every millimeter out of it. Cause like even the tailpiece is right on the edge,
Yeah. Wow.
or the bridge, I should say. The tailpiece is not a tailpiece. It's some cabinet holders, brass cabinet screw holders.
What's happening under the plates in the back? Is
Well,
that just access to the
there's some really primitive routing. The original routing was under there. So the original
Mhm.
plate would have covered a large portion of this, a metal plate with an on-off switch.
Mhm.
But then, yeah, I routed for this neck pickup as well.
Cool.
It's just a modesty cover.
Is that your instrument?
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, is it for sale or is it just something for you or?
Yeah, I made it for myself, and it's kind of like I didn't do it to a standard to which I would sell necessarily. It was my second experiment with Spanish conversions. But yeah, I keep meaning to do more of them. People ask for them, but it's as much work or more work than just making a guitar.
Mhm.
And the price point isn't necessarily there.
Mhm.
But you see people's conversions selling for a lot of money, the X-Brace conversions, etc. And now you see even more electric hybrids selling for quadruple what the guitar is actually worth,
Mhm.
because somebody switched the pickups. And so maybe there'll be a market for the Spanish conversions. That's practical.
Yeah. I saw somebody post a Rickenbacker that was Spanish, like a really early Rickenbacker that was clearly just like, hey, what if we put a round neck on it? And it looked cool. Probably wouldn't stay in tune, but
I have one right here.
do you?
Yeah,
Maybe,
1935.
maybe I saw your post. I mean, those got to be
Maybe.
rare as hen's teeth.
Yeah, there's more than you'd expect. I started compiling all of the examples I could find, but it became exhausting and I stopped caring. But like this is the case for it, so it's a pretty tiny guitar.
Yeah.
And the pickup sounds better than any pickup I've heard.
Oh, so it's Bakelite. Okay.
Yeah, it's all Bakelite.
Will it stay in tune?
Yep, still in tune. It's got some nice Grover tuners on it. It's all about your tuners. Oh, because I've heard there's more tuning issues actually with the aluminum
Is
and the
there?
cast Rickenbackers, because the metal shifts more under heat.
Could be, yeah.
But the Bakelite seems pretty stable.
So is that Bakelite frets in there?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah. It was terrifying. I actually did a fret level and crown on this
Really?
because it had pretty bad divots. But yeah, it's all molded Bakelite, every piece of it. And this is from the very first run. You'll see there's no center plate, where they tried to do some more weight relief after the first run.
So is there, I mean, I would imagine the Bakelite would erode pretty hard under string playing. Are you super easy on it or anything? Or
I don't play it a whole lot, and I'm planning on switching it to all flat wounds.
yeah.
Hopefully that'll be, I don't know, I haven't done that yet, but hopefully that'll help
Has
preserve
anybody
it.
flattened them out and cut it and put frets in it? Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, if I had screwed up the level enough, that was my backup plan, is to level it and add metal frets.
Yeah. I just cutting the Bakelite. I don't know.
What's it like to file down the Bakelite? How is that to work?
It's really soft compared to fret material, of course, and it gums things up really quickly. But it was reasonable.
What color marker did you use when you were recrowning? Because seems like a lot of
There was no marker involved. Yeah, light only. Yeah, I was actually trying to get a friend to scan and laser cut new panels for these, but because everything's black, like he was scanning an empty body with no panels, And because everything's black, it just doesn't show up. So you'd have to like paint. I could have used paint on the frets, I suppose. But yeah, that pickup, that 1935 pickup, it's like 1K resistance of 38 AWG wire, and it will bring any amp to life. All these, I have several very anemic 1930s amps that with every other guitar are just decorative. And then with this guitar, they're lively and distorted and everything. So
There's some magic in there.
there is. I wish you could get these magnets easily or cheaply, because I would make this pickup.
Where do you think the best source of those magnets would be?
Well, I know Lawler has somebody making them for him. It's like some guy bending steel, and then Lawler magnetizes them and chrome plates them. But you have to buy the whole pickup, and that's like $600.
Tough to justify that.
It is.
Dang it.
Yeah. And they're really inconvenient. It's a giant magnet in the way of your playing. So it's not the best design, but it's the best sounding design.
Maybe there's a reason they kind of caught on and then uncaught on.
Well, Rickenbacker also like squelched anybody's attempt to make anything similar.
Oh, did they lawyer up?
Oh yeah. They cease and desisted everybody. Yeah.
Kind of reminds us of somebody else. Not you. I'm not saying you.
Gibson you're talking about? Oh, sorry. Anybody who works with triangles.
Fascinating. So you buy the instruments from the States, you sell them back to the States once you fix them up. You're building
Yeah,
these
it's ridiculous.
for galleries, ideally. Oh, what's that wood beside you? It's all nibbled up.
Yeah, this is a piece of driftwood I got.
Well, why don't we go to that? Why don't we talk about your driftwood finds?
Yeah, I got a whole pile of tone wood that I got out of driftwood here.
Holy cow!
Because yeah, you're walking on the beach here, and you'll come across, a very plain looking piece of driftwood, and then you simply cut into it, and it's like beautiful. In this case, red cedar. It's mostly red cedar because the ocean kind of quarter saws it for you.
Can you hold that up and just hold it still for a sec? And flip it. Because if you hold it still, we can see the grain pattern. There it is. It just takes a second for Zoom to figure it out. And I think I can smell it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
For some reason, my house doesn't smell that great, even though I have all this. But yeah, like all these beautiful quarter sawn, like everything's perfectly quartered, usually by the ocean itself. All vertical. Yeah, and so far I've only been harvesting what I can carry. I don't bring a chainsaw to the beach or anything, which is sad because I end up leaving a lot of stuff behind. But yeah, this has had some Torado, I don't know what they're called, some sort of sea worm, boat worm, I think people call it too. Shipworm, that's the word.
Shipworm.
Yeah, so I can't decide what to do with this yet. I will not be filling it with epoxy.
That is so trendy. Are you sure you don't want to do that?
I do not want to do that. I'd rather air than plastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm, in something, if I find a piece of wood like this, I'm tempted to make one instrument out of the entire piece. We'll see. That seems impractical. I don't think it's probably the greatest neck material.
If it rolled a little better, it would be a good bowling ball.
This base here,
yes, please. Yes, please. Yes.
This base,
yes, please.
this top was a dead maple tree on my parents' property, and I harvested it and then put it in the freezer for a couple of years, and then dug out all the bug poop So it was a several year long project. And this is a cool piece of driftwood up here I found. Fully wormy.
That is wild.
Yeah, so this is like a kind of almost an upright base.
What's happening on the end of that?
What's that?
Is there art? What's happening on the very end of that?
Well,
Is that it?
my wood that I got wasn't long enough. I wanted the base to be longer, so I
Yeah.
extended the sides and added a bunch of these dowels I got from Benjamin Brockway.
Cool.
Oh, Ben!
And yeah, I don't know. It was a fun idea to add negative space and make the base even longer.
That gives me an idea to have an abacus on the end of my guitar. That'd be cool.
You might as well, yeah. I just lost all the beads.
It's really cool.
I don't know how to do math on an abacus, sadly.
Yeah.
But yeah, this actually, the reason this instrument came to be is this piece of maple here was in a cabinet maker's dumpster, and it had a 2-degree bend in the middle of it. So it's actually a neck through. The maple comes all the way through, but there was a natural 2-degree bend at a curl here. And so I incorporated that, making everything 10 times more complicated than necessary. Masochism is sort of my MO.
Yeah. Oh, wait, don't put it away yet. Let's see. Let's see the back of the headstock again. Oh, nice bridge.
I know, that was fun, but you only see the negative space from above or below. Oops.
In the back of the headstock, you've almost, yeah, like your back's trapped. Oh, I like it.
There's like many pieces of ebony involved in that.
Oh,
and
man.
then the headstock is using the same method of securing the strings. Oh no, this is banjo hardware.
Okay.
There's like some banjo bolts that the bass strings will, you probably can't see it, but just a solution for headless bass. And then I buried the other side of the screw in ebony, so you never see it again. You also can never access the tuners again. They're glued into the body.
They're gone forever.
They're gone forever. Another detail you won't be able to see is the tuner holes are lined with wasp paper, because I'm a West Coast kid now.
What's wasp paper?
Like from a wasp nest.
No way.
Yeah. Just a little nice way to hide my bad work.
Oh.
It's like binding.
Wasp paper, the new binding.
Yeah. Hide your shame with wasp paper.
Please don't tell Martin about it.
Oh, why? Will he steal the idea? Here's another example of some of this driftwood, like outside of the log and then turns into ukulele sets.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes going to the beach extra fun. And you can steal wood from the sea.
I think the sea gives it to you freely.
But yeah, there are pieces of wood that I'll have a several year relationship with on the beach before I bring them home. Like
Okay.
you again.
Oh, come here often.
I guess. But there was just a huge storm surge, so my main beach that I go harvesting wood just got like all taken away.
Oh, that's bad.
Well, it means room for fresh stuff.
Yeah, maybe get some of those wallflowers out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Doug Graham, I just want to go back to that wasp paper for a second. Do you think that it would shrink like binding? Maybe Martin would really enjoy that.
Maybe not. It may be a good idea.
It won't shrink. I laminated layer after layer. I didn't have any wasp spit to do it with, so I used wood glue, and it didn't show up at all. I don't know. There was a luthier God. Wow, I'm having a brain fart. But in the 1800s, there was a luthier. He was one of the most famous luthiers ever. I don't know what. I don't think it was Stauffer. I don't remember. But to emphasize how little value the body of the guitar really had on overall tone, he made a body out of paper mache.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of this.
Yeah. Was it Stauffer or was it somebody else?
I thought it was um it was one of the
Maybe.
Spanish
It was
classical.
Juan Antonio de Torres.
It was Torres.
That's
of
it.
course. Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Of course. So anyway, I would like to repeat that experiment with wasp paper, but I have to collect enough of it.
Yeah.
Where does one acquire wasp paper from?
Well, from failed wasp nests.
Oh, okay. You're not
Yeah.
going in live.
No. No, there's only a narrow window where the ones that failed come out before the weather destroys them.
Interesting. So that you're just like going out and finding them and hanging from trees or something?
Yeah, I mean, like Grace said about the driftwood, it presented itself to me.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
That is super duper definitely going to be a gallery piece.
Yeah, like this. Look how pretty this stuff is. All these different browns and whites and gray stripes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see any of that, but yeah, they just gather wood pulp and make paper out of it and then spit it out in nice stripes. Highly recommend it.
You are the
Go out to
only
your local
person.
wasp supplier.
You're the only person I know who has a jar full of wasp paper.
So far, they'll come out of the woodwork. Yeah. So I have a lot of things 95% done, of course,
Yeah.
but I'm concentrating everything on this one right now.
Okay.
Mandolin. Just need to finish a couple bridges and the nut, and then I think it's done-ish. Little Mando.
Was that all one piece?
Yeah, it's a one piece, of course. Nothing less practical than a one piece.
Wow.
And so for this, the putting the neck angle into a one piece is as simple. It's more simple than it sounds because you just set up a router jig one side higher than the other and route into the neck.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Get some angle on there.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. Yeah, carving one piece instruments is silly.
Where are you gonna? No, is the other side gonna be harpy?
Yeah, so it'll be 4 harp strings that if you wanted, you could also play as slide.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't decided if they'll be super trebles or bass or what yet.
How thick
Any ideas?
Not for me. Anyone else can speak up. I want to know how thick the rim is on the side that has the neck. You've got, yeah.
Oh, this part?
How thick is that? What are the
That's-
dimensions there? Is that is it half by half?
Yeah, it could be. It's way too small, but
It's so narrow.
it's hopefully not going to have to do anything because there's these other 2 necks. And just don't bonk it.
Yeah. That fills me with a high degree of tension that makes it more attractive to me.
Yeah, well, like imagine trying to sand out the bumps in the curl on this tiny little area. It is a bit harrowing.
Yeah, man. What grit did you go to on that body?
600?
Oh, yeah.
I had done worse, and then I put the finish on it, which is Odie's oil, which is the first time I'm trying it, and it's also probably the last time I'm trying it.
Is that so?
Yeah, I don't think it does any, like this is a really, really nice piece of wood,
Yeah.
and it did not make it any nicer. Like it didn't do anything for the wood. The wood wasn't already doing for itself.
Okay.
And so it's easy, super easy. That's the only thing I can say about it.
What is your preferred finish at the moment?
I use shellac for almost everything.
Yeah.
But it's finicky and difficult, time consuming. But so is every finish, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
But shellac's non-toxic and maybe sustainable, hopefully.
Yeah, it's definitely not plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, you won't get lung cancer using it.
And it did make that wood shine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I use it on almost everything, and you can get any level of sheen you want.
Do you tend to color your shellac, or do you go for super, whoops, no thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you go for super blonde?
So far, I've been working with wood that I think is good enough to show itself, and I don't really alter it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad. Sometimes I like to paint something, but I just need to buy worse wood, I think.
Or scrounge worse wood.
But I have levels of shellac from dark amber to oranges to reds to light amber, which is kind of the lightest you can get. I mostly use that. Mostly use light amber.
Okay. Oh, your approach
What do
is
you
very
use?
tasteful. I'm not a shellacker, but I would like to be.
Yeah, I mean, doing scratch builds and antique repair, it's kind of the natural thing to go to. I don't know how to use varnish or make varnish yet. I'd like to learn that.
Okay. Well, let me tell you about the Luth group.
Yeah, please.
There's a lot of wisdom here. More than I have. All right, I'm going to open it up. We've been going for about 40 minutes. I'm going to open it up, see if anyone else has any questions about your stunning array of instruments and your collection methods and just anything. If you are curious about Levon, please, please, please chat with him. He's lovely. I like him.
Yeah, Grace, you've been
I'm
building.
gonna start calling on people.
Yo.
I was gonna say I'm gonna start calling. If nobody says anything, I'm gonna start calling on people.
You get in trouble.
And I think I'll start with, is Joel Wilkins still here?
Joe Wilkins. Joel, you owe me a question, Joel.
No. No, I mean,
There we go. The
Luth
unknown
mask.
luthier. Oh, come on, put that back up. Oh
Mm,
my God.
talk to me.
no, I mean, I think I was the one who tracked Levon down and asked him to be part of this.
Oh, you did your work.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I did so because I'm so thoroughly impressed by the work that he does, the passion, the artistry. I'm so not interested in people making relic tellies. You know, it's just it's so old, and this is creative.
I am very disheartened by the lack of innovation and creativity that exists probably in society in general, but we see the focus on guitars, of course. And yeah, relic tellies for everyone.
I'm particularly impressed by sort of the found wood, on the beach and making stuff out of it. I mean, that's just it's really a beautiful thing, and I like to be inspired because there's not a lot in lutherie that does that for me anymore. So
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay,
that
next
is-
I'm calling on Dan Earlywine. Dan?
I'm amazed. He says he's not a luthier. What the hell?
Uh-huh.
Unbelievable stuff.
I think the bar might be a little too low on calling oneself a luthier. So I needed a few years under my belt before I could maybe change my handle.
Well, you've created a new name.
Are you up to
Right.
like
What
not a luthier?
Not a movie.
I mean, if you're making decisions that are counter instinctual and impractical, are you really a luthier? Yes. I guess it is a lot of improvising, but I'm going to show you an example of a very stupid thing I did.
Yes.
Oh wait.
Because I thought I might get away with it, and I was dead wrong. And that was cutting a neck into this shape. I thought I was going to pull that off without reinforcement. I thought I was just going to cut a toilet bowl of a neck and it would hold. But as soon as I cut this final piece, the final strip there, it was immediately apparent that I made a huge mistake. So I ended up doing a lot of elaborate and decorative reinforcements to hide reinforcing this joint here that I cut through. So there's this, you can make mistakes and then improvise.
Real nice.
Your solution is elegant and beautiful.
And took several days
Mm-hmm.
and lots of swearing. Yeah, carving oak sucks, especially when it's got some figure. And then this whole body is white oak, and you can the variance in color is minimal, but the variance in density is insane. Once again, very practical Amphenol connector there. Because everyone's got those cords these days.
That could be a sub business for you, eh?
Get into the Amphenol business.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll work out.
Bring him back.
It is on theme with not being a good businessman.
It's awesome. Just totally awesome how you let the wood tell you what to do with it and then find solutions when it doesn't work out. It's so inspiring.
That's another thing I see. Because I don't really have the interest. I don't know why that this is capitalism is the reason why that everyone feels the need to become a factory.
Mm-hmm.
Come up with a model and then reproduce it. And that seems stifling and soul-sucking to me. But for some, it's satisfying. But then you'll see them mess up that design slightly, like the router chip out, and they throw it away and burn it.
Yeah.
Instead of just pivoting. And that seems stupid.
When you could make it a one-of-a-kind thing because it had a one-of-a-kind experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. So cool.
I have a question, or maybe a
Hi,
topic
Dad.
of conversation. Hey, maybe we could talk about some of the ergonomics of your working process, because you seem to be one of those people who works almost exclusively on the floor. Show pictures of your workspace, and you've got projects everywhere, and you're actually, for the most part, doing some kind of a yogic exercise during your thing.
Yeah.
What's that about?
That is due to me filling every clean surface immediately with objects, and it's only in the last couple of years, thanks to memes, I'm discovering that I may have ADHD. And so, if if a project is wearing on me, I move to the next one and kind of do loops around. As my bones start to get older, I think I'm going to have to start being more diligent about working at a bench. But also, yeah, if you have a carpeted floor, which I unfortunately do, it's just a giant workbench, as long as your knees can take it.
You
I was
have anybody
imagining
in
you
your
with,
life
like,
that
the
would be
knees.
upset about? I was just wondering if you have anybody in your life that would be upset about glue on the lower workbench.
Well, I'm hoping to ruin the carpets enough that the landlord lets me pull them out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's fur flooring underneath.
Cool.
Will
Yeah.
will that force you up to a bench then as well?
Yes.
What
Yeah. I
animal
need more
did they
bench space.
get the fur from?
Doug Graham.
Right now I only have bench space for 3 instruments at a time, which should be enough. But like I said, you're clamping and gluing in frets in one spot. That's kind of a waste for a couple days possibly, and it all fills up. And you don't want to spend your time cleaning; you want to work. So
Yeah.
just
Well,
move on to the next open space.
I just set up my new workshop. I've got 4 workbenches.
Nice.
So I'm gonna be able to rotate around the room like you, only without the back pain, knee pain, without putting my knees up here while I work.
Yeah, I don't think my body can handle the way I'm working very much longer. You see the Japanese carpentry is all on the ground.
Yeah.
Your feet are your main vices. And especially on these stupid instruments that I'm making that are like this and they're all over here, you need to have a lot of mobility.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know.
I don't know.
Can also happen on a bench.
Wonder if the Total Vice could handle your instruments.
The who?
The Total Vice.
That's a good question. I've got a Erlewin neck jig here that I have not tried with my weirdo instruments. Probably works.
Might not have been designed with them in mind, but it might still do.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
I'm going to start calling on people. Danny West,
Danny, you're never safe here.
do you have enough trail mix to share with the class?
So comforting.
What's that?
I'm just wondering if you have enough trail mix to share with the class.
No.
Okay.
No trails. Yeah, he's getting ready for big time rain.
Oh yeah. Sorry. If you're getting ready for a storm, I should let you go.
Are you in California?
Yeah, he's in San Diego. He got a shop flooded out.
And it's about to happen again, maybe.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ted,
Yeah,
I feel like you two guys could go for a minute. Ted, you want to come back and make some more conversation with this fella?
Suppose I could, if necessary.
Okay.
I'm impressed by Levon's adherence to using really old, really decrepit looking tuners. So much so that we had a discussion the last week. And you seem like you'll hold on to stuff that most other people would throw away and or be offended if you happen to, have someone play on a guitar that had those tuners. I don't know. I think you have a devotion to old hardware that a lot of us would be kind of confused by. Like, how much do you actually? You say that you've got a collection of the old stuff, but how much do you actually have?
Not enough. I am recognizing that it's not always practical to use 1920s hardware on everything. And I am running out of brass flathead screws if anyone's got a source. But yeah, I don't know. Tuners can ruin, any component can ruin the entire vibe of an instrument. Not that that's the most important part. It's a tool of music. But yeah, I don't know. Shitty things still work. Shitty tuners still work. Get over your whininess and just use them. And not you, but those who would complain.
It's not a problem for me. No, I find that on a lot of the older guitars, people ask me to change them out almost as a matter of course, because the level of acceptance just isn't there. It's one of those things that people just won't accept. So I always find it interesting when you go out of your way to find the old stuff to put back on. I'm a little jealous, I think.
Yeah, I mean, having myriad paying customers is better than choosing your own adventure, probably. Pocketbook wise.
Mike Brower wants to know about your Spanish conversions. I also am curious about that too. I mean, none of them have any kind of neck reinforcement in them. Do you have to like pull boards and put rods in them and stuff to get them to?
You certainly
Get 'em to
could. I have added truss rods to certain Spanish conversions. But when you're getting a lap steel from the 1930s through 50s, it's an instrument that's been under high tension for decades already.
Yeah.
And you are subtracting a lot of wood from the square neck. But it's pretty stable old wood. This one I put a truss rod in. Sometimes you don't even have to pull the fretboard off. Like this one, these frets were on there and I didn't do anything to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready to play. They're level, even though they never had to be. The most difficult aspect of converting lap steel is usually adapting the hardware to get the action low enough.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, I drilled the tailpiece for lower string holding and replaced the bridge with a wooden bridge.
Yeah.
But often you'll have to make a whole new plate because the plates are pretty large. It's made for obviously like 1/2-inch action. But these are super fun. And I'm surprised people don't do this, and I wanted to corner the market, but the amount of work involved is a lot.
Yeah. I mean, a full neck shape on that. I mean, you must have like, I would say, to not mess it up, probably at least three hours, something like that.
Yeah, and then there's most likely you're making or modifying a fretboard, you're making or modifying the electronics plate, etc., bridge, tailpiece, and nut. And so, yeah, once you start adding it up, you're doing, once again, it's like buying an old project parlor guitar. You're going to do $1,000 of work.
Yeah.
But it's fun. And then you get to have guitars that could have existed, but didn't, because everyone wanted to play lap steel.
Patrick Niedermeyer wants to know if you've got any amp projects coming up.
I suck at electronics. I'm terrible. I don't understand how anything works. So I usually trade amp work for guitar work and have other people work on my stuff.
Is that a super teeny tiny violin behind you, or is it just really, really far away?
Oh yeah, it's a 1/10 size. Sorry about all my windows. The lighting in here is very unpredictable. That is a extremely tiny lap steel, though.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
19-inch scale.
Is that a piccolo lap steel?
I think it was just a marketing scheme, so they could ship smaller. It came with a little amplifier too.
Yeah. And
It's from National Dobro before the Valco situation.
so
Or
that cord is wired into it, right?
yeah, hardwired.
Do you think it
Yeah.
plays any Backstreet Boys?
What?
Do you think it plays any Backstreet Boys songs?
I really doubt it. Not with the cord wrapped around it.
No. I bet Ian could make it play some Backstreet Boys.
I don't even remember how to
I
play that
have
anymore.
played some Britney Spears on lap steel.
Ooh,
Yeah.
what do you got?
Just the hook from Toxic.
Dude,
We
we should get together. I got a Spice Girls arrangement. I'm
Oh,
pretty-
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all about the Spice Girls.
So yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we've embarrassed ourselves thoroughly.
Oh no, I don't care who knows that I like girl pop.
Spice Girls was the only CD in my car for the longest time.
How about that harmonica solo out of nowhere in that song? It's just like
wild. Say you'll be
it's
there.
just like harmonica solo. Wow.
I wonder if it was a real harmonica or a synthesized one.
It was. I looked it up. It was some guy that was like some studio hotshot harmonicist that you never, not Toots Thielman, the big one, but somebody that had made a name for himself. I was like, man, who knew? But that must have just been crazy. Like some producer sitting there, like the late 90s going, okay, hear me out, everybody. I'm gonna be harmonica.
I mean, that was like the Hootie and Dave Matthews era.
Yeah. Harmonica was coming back in a big way.
Just waiting for these lap steels to come back so I can cash in.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You ever work on any harmonicas?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I
What about
cleaned them out. I wouldn't know how to fix the reeds if you can. Have you?
No. No. I've
I
hardly
fixed a concertina. That's kind of close.
never talked about harmonicas this long in my life.
Next question.
Well, I'm going to end this here before we get to banjos. So it's been a lovely discussion, Levon. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You are a bright light in our industry, and I hope you keep up the good work. It's awesome. It's awesome to see what you're up to and how you contort yourself to get there. Know that we are here for you. We welcome you. You see the many names here. We're all on Instagram too. Make sure that you know this is your community. Okay.
Yeah, I will get a little further into this.
Yeah.
I might as well.
Just be our friend.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very introverted profession. And I think I just keep getting more and more introverted.
I used to think that was true until I saw how many faces there are here and how many people want to be pals with each other.
Yeah.
It's true. We have, I think the Zoom actually, because I'm pretty socially awkward, but for some reason when everybody's like about like this big on my screen, like they don't intimidate me at all, and I can talk like a normal human being.
Yeah, I was vaguely worried about even conversing with adults because I usually just me and my 9-year-old.
Oh shit! Did somebody invite an adult, Grace? Do we have a...
I did not. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank God, that was close.
Can you imagine?
Ugh.
Grace, should we have everybody unmute and say thank you to our guest?
Let's do it.
Thank you, Levon.
Everybody,
Thanks, Levon.
everybody unmute and say
Thanks.
thank you, Levon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Job
a lot.
done.
Thank
Enjoyed
you.
it.
Thank you,
Thanks.
you
Nice work.
guys.
Great stuff.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for having me here.